Assalamualaikum, good day. My name is Norzayana Yusof, and I co-authored this paper with my former supervisor, Dr. FR019. It's FR019, the institutional work in medical tourism, the role of medical doctors. So when we talk about institutional work, it is the practice of individuals and organizations in creating, maintaining, and disrupting certain institution within an ecosystem. So institution is a situation where individual or collective behavior, individuals or organizations, when they tend to behave similar ways. And organization, on the other hand, is a group of people that are brought together to achieve specific goals. And extent studies on institution, to name a few, has been conducted on actor engagement, network strategizing, service innovation, and resource integration. But then lack of studies and lack of knowledge is known on how organizations actually deal with institution. And there comes the work for institutional work. So the purpose of the study is briefly to state the constraining institutional type within the context of medical doctors, and also to illustrate the institutional work that is derived from the expectation of other stakeholders towards Malaysian medical doctor. So the contribution of the study first is to bridge the gap in the mid-range theory of institution, and then assist medical tourism stakeholders to craft their future strategies, and most importantly, to define the role of medical doctors in building, maintaining, and disrupting the specific institutions in Malaysian medical tourism context. So several studies on service ecosystem, which has been conducted on several sectors, such as primary sector, healthcare, and tourism sector, but there is lack of studies on service ecosystem on medical tourism. Studies on institutional work has been conducted on innovation process, but again, there's lack of studies that link medical tourism, institutional work, and service ecosystem. So there comes the importance of our current research. In terms of medical tourism, Malaysia started this activity during the 1997 Asian economic crisis. Back then, our local patients were losing their purchasing power, and private hospitals had to resort for foreign patients instead. So with the coming of foreign patients, that was the starting point of medical tourism in Malaysia. And in 2015, Malaysia Healthcare Travel Council, MHTC, was established to promote the country's travel healthcare services. Now, as you can see here, the revenue earned between 2015 to 2019. So Malaysia has been showing an upward trend of revenue, in fact, since 2011. However, this bar chart, it looks good, but it is not as promising, because the real issue comes in here. When we look at the numbers here, medical expenditure only takes up 3.7 or 3.4% from the total foreign tourist expenditure. And this trend has been going on since, in fact, 2015. So this number indicates that foreign tourists come to Malaysia mainly for shopping, accommodation, and F&B, but healthcare travelers come to Malaysia for basic healthcare services such as healthcare screening, which generate low revenue per patient. And this is why Malaysia has been focusing on high value treatment such as fertility, oncology, and cardiology. So when you look at here, actually medical expenditure is not contributing much to the total foreign tourist expenditure in Malaysia. So looking into this issue here, there comes the importance of our study, where we are looking into the role of medical doctors in order to encourage medical travelers to come to Malaysia and undergo high value medical services. So we did a preliminary group interview with MHTC back in 2017, and then we went for proposal defense, and then comes the data collection phase, where I conducted 2 direct observations and also 13 semi-structured interviews, consist of private hospitals, medical doctors, medical tourism facilitators, and government section. So a brief discussion on what I obtained from the study is that first, the institution that disrupt the development of medical tourism from the context of medical hospital is the hospitality, poor service culture. Like our first quotation here, it says that our sciences are excellent, but we are hindered by the arts of our services. And the second one is, to tell you the truth, our services are lousy. In order to sustain or grow, we need to depend on the culture. The servicing culture that we have is very poor. And MTF1, Medical Tourism Facilitator 1, even explained that some patients have to come at 3 in the morning just to queue up at the hospital because the hospital does not provide appointment system. So, again, despite the upward trend of revenue, what we are actually facing here is a poor service culture among Malaysian service providers towards the healthcare travelers. So looking at that issue of poor service culture, we narrowed down to the role of medical doctors, and we have produced 3 major quotes on the role of medical doctors, which is first to enhance relationship with patients, second is to meet the doctor's readiness criteria, and thirdly to participate in medical activities. These points were mentioned by several informants, private hospitals, doctors, and also medical tourism facilitators. So here, the first one, we understand that doctors' participation in medical tourism is voluntary, so they are not forced to participate in this activity. In fact, private hospital made it clear that if you are able to meet the criteria, if you are able to spend time, to take this extra effort, then please join us in medical tourism. If not, it's enough that you serve our local patients. It's okay. So we do not want to overburden doctors, and we want to ensure that doctors that want to participate in medical tourism are voluntary and that they are willing to participate in this activity. And then one of the major output of our study is that we are able to produce doctor's readiness criteria from 3 stages. The first is prior treatment, whereby doctors are expected to communicate with patients via phone call or video call and participate in marketing activities such as giving health talks, exhibition, and consultation. And then during treatment, doctor is expected to make time to see patient, and to answer their queries, to explain in a manner that is easy for them to understand, and also to tolerate towards non-English speaking patients. And at post-treatment, doctors are expected to produce a health summary report to guide patients, because when they go back to their home country, they're going to bring along this report and present it to their general practitioner, for instance. And then if the patient or the general practitioners at the home country wish to see our doctors in Malaysia, our doctors should be able to make themselves available and cater to their concerns. So these works are institutional work to create a specific service culture, the service culture, to create more service culture within medical tourism ecosystem. And the collective institutional work that we figured is that what we need now is regular dialogue and communication between medical doctors and other stakeholders, such as private hospitals, regulators, and medical tourism facilitators. Because this is such a vibrant industry where it involves a lot of stakeholders. So communication between doctors, facilitators, hospital is very important to ensure a seamless healthcare travel experience for our medical travelers. And this study contributes to the mid-range theoretical abstraction of service dominant logic, and this is where we are located at. So in conclusion, this study emphasized the essential role of medical doctors to develop our medical tourism. And this role is derived to the 3 stages, which are before, during, and after treatment. And this study is limited by the cross-sectional approach that we took, and this approach hindered us from understanding a trend of behavior. And there's lack of description on the role of other stakeholders, in response to the needs of medical doctors. So future researchers are encouraged to embark on a study to study the response of other stakeholders towards the needs of medical doctors. And also a longitudinal study is also suggested so that we are able to understand the trend of behavior between medical doctors, other stakeholders, and how they offer services to medical travelers. All right, that is all from us. Thank you very much.